Chapter 2, Section 1 is about inertia and mass and changes in motion. We need to start with a discussion of mass. In your reading, it talks about mass and its definition. Mass is the measurement of the amount of stuff in an object. The more stuff that's in the object, the more mass it has. Mass is measured in kilograms, or some version of grams. Remember, we always use the metric system when we're making measurements in science class. When we're measuring mass in kilograms, we use something called a balance. And according to this balance, the soccer ball is lighter than 1 kilogram. That means it has less than 1 kilogram of mass. Mass is a very important measurement when we're talking about inertia, and that's really the focus of this section. Inertia is defined as resistance to changes in motion. Basically, as the cartoon says, it means how hard is it to change what an object is doing. If an object is moving, how hard is it to get it to stop moving? If an object is standing still, how hard is it to get it to start moving? And we practice this a bit with the bowling ball challenge. We use the mallet to tap the bowling ball to get it to change what it was doing. Because the bowling ball is very massive, it has a lot of mass, it was difficult to get it to change what it was doing. So when objects have more mass, they have more inertia. A bowling ball compared with a golf ball. A bowling ball has 5 kilograms of mass, the golf ball 0.05 kilograms. The bowling ball, because it has more mass, is also harder to move. It has more inertia. More mass equals more inertia. More inertia means harder to move. Another word for inertia is laziness. So when objects don't want to change what they're doing, they're being lazy. In the reading, it talked about Newton. Isaac Newton is very famous for his research on motion. Newton said that motion only changes if there's an unbalanced force acting on an object. That really is Newton's first law. A force, remember, is any push or pull. So in our bowling ball challenge, we rolled the bowling ball and we saw that we could get it to move at a constant velocity. But eventually, it would slow down. Well, if the ball is rolling, it wants to keep rolling because of the inertia in it. It wants to resist changes in motion. So why does a bowling ball slow down? There has to be some kind of unbalanced force acting on the bowling ball that we can't see. And that unbalanced force is friction. Friction is the unbalanced force that slows down all moving objects. No matter what the mass is of the object, friction is going to act on the object to slow it down. And eventually, all motion comes to a stop because of that unbalanced force. Newton built on Galileo's ideas. Galileo had this experiment. He had ramps and a ball, and he determined that if there was no friction, a ball would roll up and meet the exact same height from which it was rolled. Again, that's if there was no friction. And if we were able to put those ramps at different angles, the ball would roll and reach the exact same height as it did from where it was released. And then Galileo figured out that if there was no friction and we made this ramp flat, if it was a horizontal track, the ball would roll forever if we had a track that was long enough. Again, if we could get rid of friction. So Galileo's experiment was very important in our understanding of motion and friction. So here's a situation involving inertia. Use Newton's first law and explain what's happening in this situation. Write that down in your physics binder. Also, choose one of these activities. Try it out. For the first one, you have some kind of a card with a coin on top of your finger. And you're only holding it up with the tip of your finger. The goal is to get the card out from under the coin, leaving the coin on your finger. See if you can do that. Or, item number 2, you have a ring with a small object like a pencil eraser on the top, which is on top of an open jar. The idea is to remove the ring and have the small object move down into the jar. The third one is like the first one, but instead of using your finger, you have a card with a coin on top set up on a cup. The idea is to get the card out and have the coin go down into the cup. So try those out, or at least try one of them, and then explain what happens using Newton's first law. So as a summary, remember that mass is the amount of stuff that's in an object. The more mass something has, the more resistant it is to changes in its motion. That's the relationship to inertia. And another word for inertia is laziness. So just remember, if anybody ever calls you lazy, just tell them that you are really, really into inertia. Thanks!